Environmental Protection Agency Scott Pruitt begins to talk to us so importantly about all these regulations. The past administration, when they were in, they had this Cass Sunstein. He's the author of the book. He wrote The Nudge. He wrote endless regulations meddling in the livelihood of America. A lot of us didn't even know that. But how do you feel when government's meddling in our affairs like this? It's kind of a catch-22. Sometimes we want to, sometimes we don't want them to. But it changed our nation when it happened. But our president, with Scott Pruitt, they're literally ending these regulations. As a matter of fact, check it out. Be sure to subscribe and press alert to get new notifications of new success secrets made available on VFNtv. You know, the Secretary of the Environmental Protection Agency, Scott Pruitt, he feels, and we believe too, that the Obama administration meddled in America's livelihood and went too far with their regulations and their executive orders. Now, you may remember, we talked about this before, you know, Cass Sunstein wrote a book called Nudge. You're probably seeing it on your screen right here. And a Nudge was a book about, you know, it's the big elephant nudging the other one. In their mindset, that's the government nudging you. Right. But they didn't realize there was a bigger elephant behind that, God's elephant. But look what he said. Let me read this quote, what Cass Sunstein said. He says, once you know that people are human and have some Homer Simpson in them, then there's a lot that can be done to what? Manipulate them. And Homer Simpson is some just
buffoonery character.
Yeah, really. Character, some cartoon character. And he's saying that this is what he thought. So he began to write regulations nonstop. And that's when you saw that picture. I wish you had that picture of President Trump in his office cutting the ribbon. He's cutting just like...
and I've talked to business owners who've been crippled by these regulations, and the cost of doing business is astronomical because there's regulation upon regulation upon regulation. And so this is a wonderful thing that's happening.
It is totally wonderful. And so, you know, maybe you'll get a chance to see that image of him cutting the ribbon in front of thousands and thousands of regulations he cut. Those are Cass Sunstein's regulations, and he's declaring, you know, we're not Homer Simpson, that we can't nudge the government. That's right. It's supposed to be nudged by the people. The people aren't supposed to be nudged by the government. And as a matter of fact, being a good steward. Let's see what Secretary of Environmental Protection Agency Scott Pruitt had to say about these overregulations. Check it out.
Actions taken by the executive branch really were actions that the legislative branch should have been taking or addressing, and it did what? It impacted liberty. I mean, when you declare a war on coal from a regulatory perspective, you know, the question has to be asked, where's that in the statute? You know, where did Congress empower the EPA to declare a war on coal? There's a role for the EPA. There's a very important role for the agency. The problem is the last several years, that role has been morphed and evolved into something that's not.
This is so important, you know. I mean, all this, you know, I have a phone and I have a pen, is what President Obama said. He just began to write all these executive orders that begin to shift our country.
A digital pen at that.
Yeah, a digital pen. Yeah, and he's talking about, you know, you couldn't even have a pond, a puddle of water on your property because they called that, they were just trying to take control of everything through regulation. But I'm telling you, thank God for our president. You may have seen the image again here where he cut the ribbon in front of all those paperwork. That's actually things that he's actually done away with. And it's been powerful. Those are things of Cass Sunstein's that was written under all that whole Obama administration. So that's exciting. He's freeing up industry. And as a matter of fact, there was a situation going on in Vietnam where there was a trade imbalance. And so he goes and talks to the people of Vietnam, and they said, there's a trade imbalance, you know, we're losing it, America's losing in this, we need to work it out. They say, what can we do? He doesn't come up with some finagling stuff. He just said, buy coal from West Virginia.
Period.
That was the answer. So Vietnam started buying coal from West Virginia, which is, he said, in Vietnam, they said, that's the best coal they've ever had. Wow. And guess what? That fixed the trade imbalance. Maybe it's your business next that our president's going to say, well, listen, buy those washing machines, buy those cars. If you want to get this imbalance down, buy American products. So we want to hear from you. How do you feel about that? Remember the war on coal, the war on so many different things? Well, God, when Scott Pruitt was praying and seeking the Lord for him what to do, God led him to run and get in this position, you know, for the Secretary of Environmental Protection Agency, and now he's protecting you, and he's actually balancing the environmental needs. but He's also freeing us up to be able to do what we got to do to be successful and provide for our children and protection for our country. This is so exciting. We want to hear from you. Comment below, write to us, email us. We love hearing from our community and what you have to say about what's going on. Be sure to subscribe and press alert to get new notifications of new success secrets made available on VFNtv. A lot of people want to abide with the Lord, but they just don't have a plan to do it. You can request that plan today at iabide.org. I'm your host, Greg Lancaster, and we're so glad that you've joined us. Don't forget you can join us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download our app and sign up for our newsletter, The Torch, at VFNtv.com. I've enjoyed our time together. God bless.